So the Milwaukee Bucks have had a very slow start to the new NBA season, going 1-4 and pretty much just not looking good on both ends of the floor. I'm not even kidding you. They rank bottom 5 in both offense and defense. Taking away last night's game against the Memphis Grizzlies, both Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard have been excellent, putting up well over 28 points per game. But as it stands right now, the team as a whole hasn't been good. And if that continues, if Milwaukee keeps losing these games, Giannis could force his way out of Milwaukee and change the NBA entirely. Before we get into all that, what's good, guys? It's DemiM7. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and you're gonna have a wonderful weekend. I know it. Now, I've already made a video about the Bucks before the season started, how I feel like they have to at least get to the finals this season to make all these moves that they've made worth it. And so far, it's not looking so good. But the reason I'm making this video specifically is because of a report that came out yesterday saying that allegedly, if things don't turn around for Milwaukee soon, if they don't have a good season and have a good run in the playoffs, then Giannis could force his way out. Now, as is the case with all reports, take it with a grain of salt. It all is just alleged reporting at the end of the day, but we still have to pay attention to it. And the reason being is because of Giannis himself and the stuff that he has said in the past. See, Giannis has been very vocal about his future in Milwaukee in multiple instances. Before the Damian Lillard trade, he talked about how much he cares about winning and how much he wants his organization to care about winning. And if he felt like that they weren't on the same page in terms of doing everything that they can to maximize their chances of winning and winning a championship, then he would have to look elsewhere. He has said that before. That was when Milwaukee traded for Damian Lillard, but they had to get rid of their huge defensive piece, Jrue Holiday. And let's just call it like it is. This team has not been the same since. It's almost kind of baffling. One player made such a huge difference on this team's defensive identity. They just haven't been able to find it since they got rid of him, which also he ended up winning a championship with Boston anyways. But yeah, I mean, that was one of the subtle ways that Giannis kind of gaslit the Milwaukee Bucks, at least to some extent. Don't get me wrong. They should be doing what they can to help their franchise star player. But throwing in these little ideas or little hints that, hey, I might leave if they don't do enough. I may want to go somewhere else if they don't get me some star players. I may just do that. And then they did. They got Dame. But that's just the player side of it. The other side of this entire thing is coaching. You see, the Bucks didn't have Mike Budenholzer anymore. And since they got Damian Lillard, they needed someone to help try and utilize both Dame and Giannis together. And that's when they hired Adrian Griffin. First time head coach, no one really knew how he was going to do with the team. And as far as I'm concerned, he actually did pretty well, all things considered. During his tenure as the Bucks head coach, they had one of the best offenses in the league, but at the same time, they also had one of the worst defenses. I think if I remember correctly, it was literally top 5 offense and bottom 5 defense. But even with all of that, the Bucks and Adrian Griffin were able to pull out a 30-13 record, which you would think with a record like that, 30-13, well above 500, you would think things were okay, that the coach was fine, that he was doing everything that he was supposed to be doing. The team was winning. Yeah, no, the Bucks ended up firing him. Apparently, even after that 30-13 record, Giannis and some of the other vets, I assume Damian Lillard, apparently lost faith in the guy. Now, we were hearing some reports and some allegations about like some of the practices that were going on, some of the lack of synergy with ideologies for their offense and schemes. But the baseline is Giannis, Dame, and the front office lost faith in Adrian Griffin for some reason. And they ended up pivoting to Doc Rivers. Like I said earlier in the video, I made another video about the Bucks talking about them, and I did talk about Doc. And I'm going to repeat what I said there, what I'm going to say now. He's an overrated coach. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know Doc has a championship, and I know at one point in time, he was viewed as one of the best, if not the best head coaches in the league back in like 2008. But I'm being so honest. What has Doc Rivers actually done since those days with the Celtics that would lead anyone to believe that he is one of the better coaches in the league right now? Because he's not. He's had very talented teams with the Clippers, even with the 76ers for a little bit, and he did absolutely nothing. All he did was blow away 3-1 leads and Game 7s, more so than any other coach in the history of the league. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm not saying he can't coach. What I'm saying is he's overrated. But that's who the Bucks went with. That's who Giannis and the team went with. I mean, come on, man. Of course, Giannis is going to have some say in who's going to be the head coach. He's Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, remember Adrian Griffin's record? It was 30-13 as their head coach. Do you know what Doc Rivers' record with the Bucks has been since he's been the head coach? It's 18-23, well below 500. Oh, and remember the offense and defense that I mentioned earlier? They have a bottom 3 offense and defense in the league right now. Granted, I know it's only been 5 games in the season so far. Things can definitely change as the season goes along. I'm just talking about what we've been seeing right now and what we've been seeing since Doc Rivers has become the head coach. Like I said, Giannis and Dame have been great, besides Dame last night with Memphis. I know he was really, really bad. But for the most part, they've both been excellent. It's just that this team as a whole hasn't been. And on paper, they should be better than what they are. They should be having more success. But I want to just go back to Giannis for a second because this kind of feels pretty lame on his part. Now, look, I'm a huge Giannis fan. I'm Greek. He's amazing. He's one of the best players in the league, and I've been loving this guy. But forcing yourself out of a situation that you helped create, or at least you had a very heavy hand in creating? What? No, man, like, you wanted the Bucks to get a superstar. They got Damian Lillard. You wanted the Bucks to fire Adrian Griffin. They fired him, and you got Doc Rivers. To a certain extent, you asked for this. I don't know. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that goes into winning and having a successful team environment in the NBA or any sport in general. I understand all that. And again, like I mentioned earlier, things can definitely change as the season progresses. But if Giannis ends up trying to get traded out, apparently the 2 teams that he would prefer to go to is the Brooklyn Nets and the Miami Heat. I mean, I guess I could see him wanting to be in that Heat culture, playing alongside Bam Adebayo, because Jimmy Butler, I don't really see being there too much longer. And at least with Brooklyn, they do have a lot of great young pieces that seem to be doing well. Brooklyn's actually been a better team than I thought they were going to be so far. But yeah, Giannis forcing a trade out of Milwaukee, I mean, that would just be insane. But I don't know. That's just all I have to say about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. How do you feel about everything that's been going on with Giannis and the Bucks? Let's talk about it. And until next time, peace.